is a demo store that I already have set up. I have Klevu search on this, Klevu search, Rex and everything, but I also have Klaviyo integrated on this particular store. So I go into Klaviyo and I'm already seeing that I've set up one demo profile for you. This is the Carolina demos that I sort of set up. And if I currently go into this profile, you're able to see all of the different events over here, right? So right now there's only one event, which is active on site. If I were to go on a specific product, let's say I clicked on this product right here, this pillow right here, and if I go back to my Klaviyo Merchant Center and refresh, I will get another event, which will be something like viewed product, right? So there you go. I'm going to just let it load. So I have viewed product as another event. This is where Klevu comes in. With this connector between Klevu and Klaviyo, we're able to introduce another event, which is the Klevu search, right? And how does that work? Let's take a look very quickly. On the store, let's say a shopper comes here and performs a search, right? I'm going to maybe put in, just as an example, something to do with chandeliers. So I'm going to put in CHANDE. Okay. Please note that at this point, I have not actually completed the search term, right? It's still sort of a partial search term that I've put in. But then I actually click on any one of the products. Let's say in this case, I'm going to click on this Ansley chandelier, right? This is where we trigger, or Klevu understands that, okay, a shopper came to the site, he made a search and was interested in one of the products. So we actually capture the product click as a intent to understand that, okay, the shopper is actually interested in a product that actually came to, or sort of, like resulted from the search term. This is what we capture and send to Klaviyo, right? So if I now go back to your profile, and if I hit refresh, you will now see another event here called as Klevu search, right? While this is very helpful in terms of understanding the journey, we also identified this as an opportunity to send more details along with this event itself, right? What are these things? Let's just quickly take a look. So in addition to sending an event for a shopper, we're also sending what the actual search term was. Klevu's AI is able to determine if the shopper had completed the full search term, what would it have been? And we do this with a number of different sort of parameters and sort of understanding what product was clicked, what categories it belongs to. There's many different sort of, AI parameters that go on the back. So we pass that too. We have total number of product results that we pass as well, because Klevu is recommending what products were actually shown to the shopper at that point, which product was clicked, and a couple of those details like the product ID, name, image, etc. What were the other products that were also shown in addition to the one that the shopper clicked, right? So we send all of these different details. And lastly, we also send subjects. This is particularly important because sometimes the search can be a bit tricky, especially when you're looking at synonyms and things like that. A shopper may come to your may come to a site and actually search for drapes, but the product that he's clicked on actually has the name curtain, right? Klevu intelligently sort of does the search term enrichment and in terms of synonyms and as such, but we're also able to identify what was the subject of the product that the shopper was after. And we're able to sort of, derive all of this and send that to Klaviyo. So back within Klaviyo, if I look at this Klevu search and click on view more, I will see a bunch of this information that I just talked about. So I entered CHANDE, but Klevu was able to identify that the full search term in this case would be a chandelier. Because I clicked on a product that was chandelier, we're able to derive that the subject of this entire search sort of event was a chandelier. We're able to put that. And there's a number of different items like products clicked and search results as well, right? Because this is an event so granular at a shopper level, you can use this event in either creating segments. Essentially, you can create a segment that will say, give me all the list of shoppers who have expressed an interest in chandeliers. Give me all the shoppers who have expressed an interest in sofas. I can get even more granular. People who've searched for chandeliers but have not made a purchase, people who search for chandeliers and have looked at least 3 chandeliers. And that way you can create really nice segments and then target them later with email campaigns that Klaviyo already offers. So you can imagine now the possible use cases with just this one event being captured in Klaviyo. The list and the use cases of segmenting your shoppers are actually endless, right? And combine that with other Klaviyo events like order placed, cart abandonment, they frequent your site every now and then, etc. Or for customers who have purchased a certain product from a certain category and are now looking at another category, so you can actually sort of segment them separately as well. So there's many different uses that will come through. The most important one in this full journey, we understood, was a search abandonment flow, meaning somebody came to your site, made a search, looked at a product, but then didn't make a purchase and sort of moved away. So you can use these kind of events within flows. And to give you an example, I'm just going to say I'll go to flows, I'll go to search abandonment Klevu, and here I've kept the trigger of this flow as when somebody makes a Klevu search, has a number of products, has done no checkout, has not placed an order, and has not been in a flow for XYZ days. I wait for an X amount of days. Just for this demo purpose, I'm using 1 minute, but imagine this would be like maybe 8 hours or something like that. And then you actually shoot them an email. In the email, because we're passing so much data to Klaviyo in that one search event, we're actually able to power the product that the shopper intended to view, but we're also able to show other alternatives. And to showcase that, I want to go back to my email, because I put in this email forgotten something. You will see I've actually been using this entire email is essentially powered by Klevu's sort of this thing. I clicked on this specific chandelier, which is what it's sort of retargeting me. I'm using the full term that we passed, that Klevu passed in the event, along with all of these details. And because we are also passing other chandeliers that the user was shown on the actual sort of product results, we're able to power all of this as well, right? So this way you can actually build a very nice search abandonment flow. So this was the first use case that we imagined. It was sort of worked really well. We have a number of different other merchants and brands who are already using this today. A major breakthrough has been definitely in creating a lot of segments, because now, because we're able to, or like our merchants and brands are able to understand really from search and sort of create segments, they're able to retarget them later. I'll give you a very simple scenario. People actually often come and search for, gifts for my mom or gifts for my sister. It was very hard before to actually track something like this and sort of retarget later. But now with the search connector, with actually tracking Klevu search terms and things like that, you're able to sort of retarget them saying, hey, we've just added a bunch of new gifts. Maybe this would be perfect for your moms or things like that, right? So I think that shopper's psyche of what they're searching for or what the intent was can actually now be captured and can be retargeted using Klaviyo flows and emails. Yeah, that was the first use case. This we launched last year. And just recently, we have launched a completely new feature, again, with the help of Klaviyo, which is that we are now actually able to set up our Klevu recommendations on site, on the actual site, but you can curate them separately for different shoppers based on what segment they fall into. Okay, to give you a very simple example, I'm going to go back to the home page of my demo store, right? When I go back to my the homepage of my demo store, I will see there's a recommendation here that says decorate your home with these items under $100. I've set up a recommendation using Klaviyo segments in such a way that if a shopper does not belong to any segment, which means they have not performed much activity for them to be actually belonging to a segment, they will see this particular recommendation right here. If the same shopper belonged to a segment who've possibly shown interest in tables before, then they would see something like this. At the same place, another shopper would see curated tables just for you. Another shopper who may have expressed interest in chandeliers at the same place on the same spot will see brighten your life with these chandeliers. So we're able to really personalize shopper journey based on what kind of segments they belong to. And we allow merchants to merchandise these banners and completely curate it based on their segment traits or behaviors and as such. To very quickly show you how this is set up in our merchant center, I'm just going to go into Klevu Merchant Center right here. Two quick things that you need to do. This is a one-time setup. In order to sort of read segments from Klaviyo and things like that, you'd have to go into connectors, which is at the bottom left of our Klevu Merchant Center. Find the Klaviyo connector card. I'll click on configure, and you'll have to enable sync Klaviyo segments. Input a small API key so that Klevu starts to receive all of the segment data from Klaviyo. Once all the segment data is synced into Klevu, we can now go into smart recommendations. Into recommendation, I can then go ahead and create a new recommendation right from here. I'm going to give this, say for example, homepage, and I'm going to call this hero. I'm just going to give it a spot name, say hero banner first fold or something like that. I'm going to click on continue. I'm going to select a design that I want for my recommendation. You can have a multiple different sort of, the look and feel of the recommendation, like, however you want it. So we have a full-fledged GUI editor. We have a code editor within the merchant center. Let's say I select a simple sort of design and something like that. I'll continue. And then we've also just recently introduced scheduling. This was just a release that happened last week. Essentially, we also allow our merchants now to schedule recommendations. A classic example, Black Friday is coming up. We don't want our merchants to go into the merchant center on the day of Black Friday and make changes. They can schedule all the changes that they want to go live with on the Black Friday itself. So I can actually just sort of, schedule this recommendation, select a start date, end date, so that whenever that time comes, automatically all of those configurations and merchandising and that recommendation will kick in automatically. So this is a new feature that we just launched. Imagine that I'm not putting any schedule here. I click on continue. And then we actually allow the merchant to select if they want to show this recommendation to everyone, or do they want to merchandise it and apply different strategies based on different segments. In this case, I'm going to select by segment, click on continue, and then I will see I already get something called as for everyone else, but then I can keep on adding more and more segments and merchandise them. So say, for example, I'm going to click on add segment here. I'll click on this drop down and I'll say, and I'll select users who search for chandeliers, for example. That could be a segment. I sort of select that. I want to show them trending products. I'll give this a title, something like must have chandeliers or something like that. And because we have advanced filtering, you can actually say that within trending products, I only want to show a certain kind of product. And then you can filter products from here so that you actually target this particular segment for people who search chandeliers with a specific set of products. And within this recommendation, you can pin products, exclude products, however you want it. And this entire thing happens through attributes. So I can filter, products by including products. Let's say I'm going to say category, and I'm going to say lights, for example, and I'm going to click on done. I see a couple of, lights and sort of chandeliers coming up. Maybe I don't like this one. I'm going to exclude this one. I like this one. I'm going to pin this one. So there's all of these different ways of how you can merchandise the entire recommendation just for this one segment. Once I'm done, I click on save. I'll go back. So I've already set this up for people who search for chandeliers. I'm going to set up another segment. I'm going to say for anybody who's interested in tables, use newest arrivals, and I'm going to say new tables just for you. And within advanced filtering, I'm going to only show tables in this case. So this way you can actually target the right products for the right segment and set it up that way. Once I'm done with all of this, please make sure that for anybody, for any shopper that does not belong in any of these segments, you could always have a fallback. So we have a section called as everyone else, which means a shopper who comes to your site for the first time does not belong to any of these above segments. They will fall into this one. So what do you want to show them? you can sort of configure that as well. Or if you don't want to show anything to them, you also have the option to hide the recommendation banner completely. So that way you could only sometimes target your segmented shoppers and not at all target the other bunch who sort of new to your site and as such. There's more things that you can do with here. We also have recently launched things like image banners and things like that. So imagine you have something like a discount sensitive, like a segment, right? I don't have it right now, but let's say just for the sake of it, imagine this VIP customers is a discount sensitive segment, right? I could actually come here and select custom logic. I'm just going to call this image banner. I'm going to go into filter products and rules, and I'm going to say that instead of showing me product recommendations, I'm going to click on edit, and I'm going to actually show an image banner. So for this segment, you can actually show a banner that will say something like, hey, we have a 20% off just because you're so loyal or just because you love discounts. Here's a coupon code just for you. So for certain customers, they see product recommendations. For certain, they do not see anything. And for certain shoppers who belong to a certain segment, will see an image banner rather than a product recommendation.
To learn more about the Klaviyo integration with Klevu, please schedule a demo at klevu.com.